Kasey, Litt, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for coming in today.
This was the perfect day.
It is
Before
perfect day.
spring break.
That's right. What'd you say?
Day before spring break.
That is, yeah. Allison, my wife's a teacher, and she's always like, 3 more wake-ups to the kids. 1 more wake-up, you know.
That's so cute.
0 wake-ups. This is it. We're on spring break, girls.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and it's a pretty day. It's a little chilly, but it's a pretty day.
It's a great day.
It's a good day to walk dogs.
It's a fantastic
trained
day.
dogs, right?
Yeah. Fantastic day. Nice and sunshine. We've got really big outdoor yards that they can play and romp in. Agility equipment that we run them up and down on. And
Do you also have a place inside to train them?
we do. We have about 6,500 square feet under roof. It used to be a human daycare. Now it's a doggy daycare.
Where are you at?
I'm on Powder Springs Road in Marietta, but West Marietta, we kind of border Powder Springs, Kennesaw. We're right smack in the middle of everything.
That's awesome. I love it. And it says you used to be in IT.
I used to be
Right.
in IT.
And tell me the story from the jump from IT to training dogs and caring for dogs.
I've always had dogs in my life and have always volunteered at Humane Society shelters wherever I lived. Being in IT, we tend to move around a little bit. But in 1994, we ended up here in Atlanta with IBM, my husband and I, and
Both of y'all worked for IBM?
both of us worked for IBM. And he stayed with IBM. I went to another company, and my manager at that company, it was at a Christmas dinner party, and she went around the room and she said, okay, if you all could just do something that you love and you wouldn't fail, what would it be? And I was the first one to answer, and out of my mouth came doggy daycare boarding and training facility. I had never said the words out loud. It just was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Sure. It came naturally, right?
It absolutely came naturally. I read a book a few years before that called Don't Shoot the Dog by a lady named Karen Pryor, who is the mother of clicker training, if you've ever seen dog training that uses a clicker.
Yep.
And although I used her methods to train my dogs at the time, I used her methods to train my husband because it was
Ooh,
all
I'll have to
Nice.
try that.
it was all about communication.
Did you use the clicker?
I did not use the clicker. This was years before the love language
Books, yeah.
books that everybody, but it's much on the same thing, you know, in training dogs as well as working with people. You have to find what motivates somebody. And it's sometimes a little easier with dogs because you got the big 3 treats, love, or toys. But with people, you kind of have to find other things. And community, that book still stays with me as I work with my staff members, as I work with my customers, finding out what motivates them. Believe it or not, with the staff members, it's not always money. It is recognition, and I have to tell you, I have the best staff in the world.
That's awesome. That helps. That
That
helps
definitely
for sure.
makes things easier.
So you retired from IBM, or you just like, hey, I'm out of here. I'm taking this fishbowl
Well,
with me.
I left
Bye.
IBM and I went to work for another global company called SAP. They're they're mainly out of Germany, but they cover the world. And I had spoken the words out loud that I wanted to do this, and then a couple of years later, I was on a really long trip. SAP would send me to different places, and I'd be there for several weeks at a time. And I was in Asia Pacific, and I was tired and I was sick, and I'd already been on travel for 2 weeks, and I had another 2 weeks ahead of me. And I called my husband, it was middle of the night here, and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to quit. And he said, okay, that's great. And we had a plan. I then found a great dog training school. I physically went to a dog training school. Right now, that's kind of hard to do. Everything's online. But this particular group was called Catch Academy. They're out in New Jersey. we did a 6-week long program in a really large no-kill shelter in the middle of New Jersey. We worked with a lot of tough dogs every day. We had what I call my 2 hours of book learning in the morning, and then we just worked with these dogs for hours. And most of us would stay, class was supposed to be finished at 5 o'clock. We would stay until the shelter staff would kick us out because they wanted to close. But it was great because over the weekend they would have their adoption events, and we'd come back in on Monday and be like, okay, who got adopted? And we helped a lot of dogs get adopted.
That's awesome.
And that's what I see. That is really a driving factor for me in building Critter Keepers Club, because working in rescue as long as I have, I see the dogs that maybe they're not paired up with the right family. A lot of active dogs with a lot of inactive families, and you've got that mix. Critter Keepers Club, we want to be able to help you to keep your dog and to help your dog learn manners and become a productive member of the family. So we do lots of exercise. Sometimes our dogs lose weight when they come to us because
that's good.
They just spend a lot of energy with us. So we do board and train programs. We do daily daycare. We're open 365 days a year. And so as a consumer of these products, I took everything that I loved about all of the companies that I used, and then some of the things that I maybe didn't love. For instance, I've always had multiple dogs, so we always offer a multiple dog discount. It wasn't that I couldn't afford it, I just didn't want to pay for this full price for every dog. And so we offer 20% discount on additional dogs, whether it's boarding, training, daycare. And I also wanted to pick up my dog on Sunday. When I got home from a vacation, if I got home Saturday night, I wanted my dog on Sunday. And a lot of places were closed on Sunday.
I had this has been very, very recent, but we have a software partner that he carries his dogs everywhere he goes, and he brought them up and boarded them here. But when I say boarded them, he looked on like maybe Google or something like that, and it was a couple that was in just a really, really, I think it's like a bad part of town, and he dropped them off at night. So he's like, I didn't get close to the house. They grabbed the dogs, right. And he said he tried to call them because they needed food, and he went and bought food, and it was late. It was like 11 o'clock at night, but he had to get the cops to come in there and knock on the door to get his dogs out. And he was like, man, when they opened the door, the house just didn't look great at all. He goes, I felt sorry for my dogs to even having to be there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. In our industry, there's not a lot of rules around it. Department of Agriculture is who we have to get our licenses from, as long as you know that we are in business. But people who are set up in their homes maybe don't go through all of the business licensing that above board businesses do.
Of course.
So I get inspected every year by Department of Agriculture. They come in and look around.
Well, I think the difference is this wasn't a business. It was two people at the house like, yeah, while you're gone, I'll watch your dog. And they're going to do whatever they want to while they're here. And I'm going to go back to my room.
There are some great small business owners out there that do in-home care. Either they'll go to your home or they'll bring the dogs to their home. There are also some folks that maybe not so. And then there's some companies out there that, have a really good concept, maybe not so great at checking their people out. Before I had my Sticks and Bricks building, I did in-home pet care. And I had 5 people working for me, and we would go into people's houses. Sometimes we would stay overnight, but multiple times a day to walk the dogs or give them love. To me, a dog needs at least 3 visits a day if you're going to be at home, because they're they're not like the kitties that, you could go in once a day, scoop the cat litter and, give them a little scratch.
Cats aren't pets, they're roommates.
That's
the saying.
That's kind of how it is.
Dogs are your friend that you need to take care of.
You absolutely do. And when I opened Critter Keepers Club, and my people started, going to different places, my employees did. I just found it really hard to find people that I would feel good about sending them into people's homes.
Sure.
So we actually closed that part of the business. I just couldn't support both sides.
That's right. I get it.
My first spring break, which is like right now, my first spring break, having both Critter Keepers Club and the pet sitting service, I was running from 5 o'clock in the morning until midnight.
Sure.
Because I was doing as many home visits as I was being in the office.
Coming back to the office,
and working with the dogs there. So it just was a matter of what was going to work for us.
If somebody wants that more concierge type of, hey, come to my house to spend the night, do you recommend somebody?
I do. I still keep in touch with, there's a Georgia pet sitting group that I was involved with. I love all of these folks. They go and they get their business licenses. They're fully insured. You want to, if you're going to have a at-home pet sitter, you want to make sure that they're fully insured.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it could be something that's crazy. They might clog your toilet and then leave the house and didn't know the toilet was running, and then you come home from vacation and you got $10,000 worth of damage. But a insured pet sitter would be able to cover
that. Yeah. Well, it's not just on purpose things. It's truly accidents that can happen because they don't know your house for sure.
You don't want to break that Ming vase or vase, or I think if it's more expensive, you're supposed to call it a vase.
A vase, yeah.
Good to know.
Then all I have is vases then.
Yeah.
All I have is Coke bottles that I put the stems in if I need.
There you go. Yeah, so accidents will happen for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
Yeah, so I tell people, and there are some dogs that just are not suited into coming into a boarding facility. And so we always do an assessment prior to bringing any dog in, because even the boarding dogs, they go into our daycare groups. And so we've got the big crazies, which are really big dogs, very hard personalities. Then our next group is called the Noodles, and they are exactly what that sounds like. They're wiggly, and a lot of them are kind of adolescent puppies and
bouncy. Ears flop.
Yeah. Where the big crazies would be like, stop that.
That's right. Yeah. What kind of dogs do you have personally?
I have a lot of dogs. I have a 16-year-old Jackawawa.
Okay.
Jack Russell Chihuahua. I have a Brussels Griffon mix who's about 15 pounds. He actually is who we call the chairman of the board of dog rectors. His name is Bubba. He tried to run for president last year as a write-in candidate, but didn't get too many votes.
That sucks. Maybe next year, right?
His slogan was...
Is it because dogs have shorter lives? It can't be every 4 years though.
Right.
It's got to be every
other year.
6 months.
Yeah. Well, yeah. His slogan was, because it can't get much worse.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, with a cute face, that works.
Yeah. I also have an 18-month-old German Shepherd.
Oh.
Her name is Bunny. I thought it would be funny to have a German Shepherd named Bunny.
Yeah, it is funny. I like it. And that's 16 months.
18 months.
Oh, so that's still a puppy.
Yeah,
still puppy.
Yeah, she's a big girl. She's a good girl.
But you can see like my I had a Great Dane for years, and even at they're big at 18 months, but they still have those puppy tendencies.
That noodly moment.
That's it. Yeah.
I also have a 2-year-old Siberian Husky.
Cool.
He's kind of broken though. He doesn't really know he's a Siberian Husky. He doesn't want to go anyplace. He doesn't want to break away. He doesn't want to howl. He's just like
Give me my food.
Because they're
Big
known for
derp.
being vocal. All these videos that are going around, Huskies all just make funny sounds.
No. The only time he makes a funny sound is if his brother Hunter, who is my Vizsla, leaves him.
Okay.
Oh.
And then he's like, "Where's my brother?"
Okay.
And then my old
So I'm
man.
counting 5 right now.
Yeah, and the sixth one is my old man. He just turned 10. He was a Mostly Mutts, which is a rescue organization that I worked with, foster for 2 years. And then my husband gifted him to me for our anniversary. He's very important to me because that was the last anniversary gift that my husband gifted, because shortly after he was killed in a car wreck.
Oh, no.
And that was right before we had actually, I got a job at Best Friends out in Kanab, Utah, which is a biggest no-kill shelter. That's where the Michael Vick dogs ended up, and a lot of the Hurricane Katrina dogs ended up. And 3 days before we were to move to Utah, he was in that accident. I obviously didn't move to Utah,
Stayed here.
but stayed here and
Was
built
he still
Critter
working
Keepers.
at IBM?
He was not.
So he'd retired and y'all were working this full time?
Yeah. So I had not opened Critter Keepers Club yet.
Okay.
I wanted to kind of look around before I made the investment into a building and a property and things like that. A lot of times with boarding facilities, because of zoning, we either have to be in an industrial area, which is not so nice, or I lucked out in the place where I'm at because it's unincorporated Cobb County, and they allowed me to open. It was a child daycare. I don't think we make any more noise than the kids do. So.
Nah. And you know, as a professional that trains dogs, you probably have a better handle on the dogs than some of the teachers do the kids.
Yeah. I like to think that we do also have somebody there 24/7. So if there's when we put the dogs to bed at night and we turn the lights off, there's usually not a sound until morning time.
They know it's bedtime.
They know it's bedtime, and they're tired because they've been playing all day, wrestling all day, having fun.
Well, the Critter Club, how long has the facility been open?
We opened in September 2017.
Okay. So y'all been open for
Almost
4
4
years?
years,
4
yeah.
years now. That's cool. And what's next? Like, do you want to open up more facilities, or you just want to, fill the one up you have?
Well, we're doing pretty good right now, filling up. It was COVID hit us a little bit hard. Daycare is great and it's fun, but it's really boarding that pays the bills. So March came in like the lion it's supposed to be, and we have done more business in March than we did all of January and February.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been crazy.
Well, people are leaving and
busy.
they're getting out. So
They are.
I'm assuming COVID did hit you worse than almost any industry because people were at home with their dogs.
Exactly.
So they weren't boarding them at all.
Oh,
They weren't boarding them, but it about summertime last year, everybody started with the at home, working at home, got the dogs at home. I can do this all at home. School my kids, walk my dogs, do my work. And about summertime came the realization that I gotta get something out of here. It ain't
can't
gonna
do
be the
that.
kids, it ain't gonna be me, so I'm gonna bring the dog to daycare. We have our training business is just skyrocketed.
That's
because
awesome.
you have all these what I call COVID pups that that have not had the opportunity to socialize with either different people or different dogs, and so we're trying to fix a lot of that.
What is it for somebody that can't afford, to go get their dog trained? What are some things that you can do with your dog, to help with discipline?
Well, first of all, there's so many videos out on YouTube on working on specific problems. Even as a dog trainer, I will go out on YouTube and look at specific, okay, I've got this dog that absolutely goes crazy over balls, and I need to figure out how to curb them away from that. I'll go look at that. But exercise is always going to be the number one thing, and that's probably the biggest thing that the biggest frustration level for the dog as well as the human, because when the dog gets frustrated, it doesn't know how to, they're not born speaking English. They don't really understand all the emotions that we have. They don't understand why this shoe is, $200 or whatever.
Never will.
Never will understand that. Dogs do things because they need to do it. Boredom. They have to go. They don't spite pee as much as my customers will tell me
they're doing it on purpose.
They're doing it on purpose. They don't. There's always some specific need behind it. So if you can exercise your dog, and for some dogs that means off leash running at a facility like mine or a dog park. A lot of people in my industry are not fans of the dog park. I don't mind a dog park. A dog park can be an excellent place for somebody who doesn't have a fenced-in yard, the thing that I mind at a dog park is that people just kind of go and then they're on their phone, or they're talking to each other, and they're not paying attention. They're not playing with their dogs. They're not paying attention to their dogs. When I will take some of my dogs to a dog park. I become like the Pied Piper because I start playing with the dogs, or I move around with the dogs. And there's a dog park up here off of Pittner Road that I used to go to, and if you walked all the way around the perimeter of the big dog side, it's about a quarter mile. So I'm like, heck, I'm going to get my exercise in. So I started marching around the perimeter. Next thing I know, every single dog in that park is following me because I'm moving, and I'm like the Pied Piper of dogs.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So look, how can we get a hold of you? How do I, where exactly are you? What's your website? What's your email? All that.
Website is www.kritter, spelled with a K, keepers.com. Phone number 678-923-7663. You can text that number or call that number. We do have a landline, but I can't even tell you what that number is. And you can also reach out to us on Facebook, Kritter Keepers Club.
Cool. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. We'll do a follow up with you. Maybe come to your place and take some pictures and put them up. And I love
play with some dogs.
I love dogs too.
I'll bring my dogs.
I had the Great Dane, and unfortunately she passed away. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then we still have the Dotson that's also 14 years old, and she sleeps.
You had a dog.
She sleeps a lot now.
Yeah.
And then she's blind, but she goes outside, and when it's warm, she gets in the grass and rolls around.
And
you're talking about your German Shepherd being a 18 months and acting like a puppy, but I have a 8-year-old German Shepherd, and he still acts like a puppy.
Yeah.
He tries to get up in your lap and nudges at you to play with him. And
that's my Vizsla. Vizsla, they call them, if I could unzip my skin and he could get in to be closer to me, that's what he would do.
Yeah. The Great Dane was like that. She thought she was 3 pounds. They call them apartment dogs. I've heard a lot, and they're just sit down. But they're so tall. Mine was so tall that, I made a chicken sandwich one day, and then I turned around. I was talking on the phone, and turned on, the chicken sandwich is gone.
From the counter?
Yeah, from the counter.
Yes,
and then I was like, God almighty. I was like, get out of here, Peyton. And so she gets out of here. I was like, so I make another one. And I did the same thing. It's not her fault. It was my fault. But I turned around.
Right at nose level.
And then all the coffee tables are at tail level. So if you have a vase or a vase, keep away.
Right.
The tail is a whipper.
Right.
It whips it down.
Yeah, my German Shepherd knocked over some flowers like last week. It was on my coffee table. They were fake flowers.
But it's your
But-
fault, though. A lot of people get mad at the dogs. It's your fault.
Well,
It's my decoration.
exactly. And when people come in with puppies, oh, he's eating this, he's eating that. I said, well, where were the
Get
things?
it out of his reach.
Is it on the floor?
Yeah.
Because if it's on the floor, that's
That's
his zone.
That's his territory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. We're gonna come out and visit you.
All right, sounds great.
You guys be kind to each other out there.